Hey, welcome back everybody. It is Matthew once again. This is Watty's channel. We are taking a look at once again at the my favorite wrestlers as they are spread across the different toy lines, different manufacturers. Today we're looking at wrestler King Kong Bundy. So just a couple days ago I did get one of the most coveted figures of any collector's collection, and because of that edition, that's the reason I chose King Kong Bundy for this video. So anyone that didn't see the first video, essentially what we're doing in this series of videos, we're going to choose a wrestler each video, and we're going to look at the different lines that produced that particular wrestler. The only criterion for this video is I must have that particular wrestler on hand. So if it's a particular character had dozens of different figures made and I only have 5 particular figures on hand, of course we're only going to review 5 figures. So only other criterion really is if it customs. I generally will not include customs. However, if I have around 6 figures on hand, no customs. If I have somewhere in the neighborhood of 3-4 figures and it's going to be around 10-12 minute video, yeah, in that case I will make an exception to include a custom. So it looks like I do have about 6 figures here, so no need for a custom. So we will dive right in. So my number 6 favorite King Kong Bundy figure does come from Jakks Pacific Classic Superstars. And, unlike some of the other figures of this line, probably because of the simple bulkiness of the King Kong Bundy figure, I think this is one of those rare figures where if this was out of the package, I might still try to acquire this. And let's see if this one says it doesn't. So sometimes when you look at these box sets, somewhere near the top it'll be in red or purple, green, orange, etc. Sometimes it'll actually tell you what series it is, and sometimes like this it'll just say collector series, and I absolutely hate that. I mean, it's such a help when they actually say what series. But the great thing I love about these packages, just the other video, we reviewed Terry Funk. So diving into King Kong Bundy, I think I didn't choose King Kong Bundy because of this. It's just coincidence. But this actually is a fantastic figure, and I really love this one. But same thing with pretty much any of the other Mattel, Jakks Pacific, or New Age figures. The movable joints throughout, everywhere from the shoulder, elbow, wrist, all the way to the groin, knees, and ankles, it kills it for me. If this was an overall stationary figure, like if his arms were just movable for the most part and the legs were pretty stiff, when you look at like Toy Biz, I think Toy Biz replaced original San Francisco toy makers, and there was one figure from Toy Biz in particular that I owned, which was a Diesel figure. Like black pants with like these little red, I don't know what they were, ropes or something coming out of the figure. It was actually one of my favorite figures, and it looked great aesthetically, but what I despised about it, when he tried standing it up, he always fell down. His legs were always like, spreading apart, and it was just crazy. And that what I always feel like would happen with these figures, and that's why I do not like the little removable pieces. But either way, gorgeous figure. Absolutely love this. I just love the Jakks Pacific Classic Superstars collection in general. The box sets are probably my favorite, figures in package. So that is number 6. Coming in at number 5, we are sticking with the Jakks Pacific Classic Superstars. So this one does hold a special meaning for me. Reason being, if I'm not mistaken, I believe this is the very first Jack's Pacific box set I ever purchased. And it's a 3-piece. And it includes 3 of your major heels with Nikolai Volkov, the Iron Sheik, and King Kong Bundy. So pretty much your 3 mega heels of the 1980s all in one major package. So back in, I think 2021 is when I originally got this. I kept saying like all of these mega tag teams, you know, especially from LJN and Hasbro, and they were just selling for such massive amounts of money. And it occurred to me that these tag teams, if that's what, you know, what the market is going to be, that the tag teams are going to be selling for a ludicrous amount of money, yeah, I better start stockpiling some tag teams and get as many as I possibly can and get them now. And so when I came across this, love the package, love the characters, the figures inside were great, and I kind of felt like with a 3-piece, after seeing what the Remcos were selling for 3 pieces, yeah, this was important to get. I don't think I got this off eBay. If I'm not mistaken, I think this was an Etsy purchase. It definitely wasn't Mercari, because Mercari I just recently started buying off there within like last few months. So if not eBay, I'm almost positive it was Etsy. But the Bundy I think is the exact same figure. I mean, you guys look at it, tell me what you think, but I'm thinking it's the exact same piece. So in the 3-pack, his knees are bent, but I mean, it looks like he could still bend his knees in the single piece as well. You know, hands, yeah, it doesn't really look like anything's different on here. Even the cloth singlet, it all looks the same to me. And what it boils down to is, of course, the 3-pack is going to mean more to me than a single because, hey, it offers more. And like I said, as the very first Jack's Pacific Classic Superstars package that I purchased, I mean, that holds a special meaning as well. Kind of like the Outback Jack LJN poster. If that wasn't the very first poster I purchased, I mentioned that was one of the first, or at least one of the group of first group of posters I purchased. So yeah, something like that holds a lot of meaning in my eyes. But yeah, I really love this set. At some point, I'm probably gonna make a video of my top 5 primary collectibles. Like, you know, I'm going to my grave, what am I going to be buried with type of deal. Or I'm in financial ruin and I need to sell everything. What are the 5 things I absolutely refuse to sell? And I think one of the items I would probably put on that list are probably going to be found in this collection. Maybe. Coming in at number 4 comes from an incredible line I just learned about last year. I'd say about last March or so. And this is Legends of Professional Wrestling. One of the great things about Legends of Professional Wrestling is each series really only consisted of one wrestler. And you had a bloody version and you had a non-bloody version. Well, number 4 is going to consist of the non-bloody version. Now, this figure is a little bit smaller, obviously, than what you would find with Jack's Classic Superstars. This one, not quite like a Hasbro. I mean, so Hasbro is about 4 inches. This one appears to be somewhere more like 5.5 to 6 inches. But based on the color, how it's built in and everything, it's very Hasbro-like, I think. Just an overall beautiful figure. I came across a lot of Legends of Professional Wrestling loose figures, and I really wanted it. I think it ended up selling for like $130, $140 on auction. But having all, and that's just the thing. I ran into the same situation with the Mattel Retros. Because I bought all the Mattel Retros and I bought all the Legends of Professional Wrestling on card, and I haven't bought any loose figures, it's really hard for me to pay up on loose figures when I already have them carded. when I started collecting LJNs and Hasbros and everything, I started the collection first with loose figures, and when I finished those collections, then I started the carded collection. So, yeah, I'm willing to pay more for a carded figure than I am for a loose figure, and yeah, just I would go for this for about $5-10 loose, but not so much. I mean, obviously, as a carded figure, I'd probably pay more like $50 for this as a card, but yeah, it just sucks that I missed out on it, because it had almost everything. Beautiful figure. The Abdullah Butcher is actually the first one I bought from this line, the bloody version, and that's one that introduced me to this line. And here is the bloody version. So the King Kong Bundy with black card, this is the only black card that I've been able to find for this line. Everything else has been on this red card up to, I believe, Series 13, or I believe Series 13 or Series 14. I think it's Series 13 if I'm not mistaken. And then after that, they come in these little small, well, not that small, but they come about that big, and you know, they're about the size of the wrestler, but they come in like really small boxes. They don't come on these big cards anymore, which is a shame, because these card backings are about my favorite. But number, what'd I say, 6-5. So number 4 was the non-bloody. Number 3 was the bloody version. Same figure, just covered in blood. I just love the brutality of these figures, because they're just so amazing. And man, I can't remember what video it was. I think it was like 77, 78, something like that. If I had to guess, it was somewhere in the 70 range. If you guys get the opportunity to go back, look at the review of the Legends of Professional Wrestling. It was one of my favorite videos to make. So if you're interested in these figures, I recommend checking that video out. Alright, number 2. Coming in at number 2, from Series 2, 1985, is the LJN Wrestling Superstars King Kong Bundy 8-inch rubber figure. Now, number 2. A lot of people, I'm sure, are looking at this figure at number 2 right now and thinking, what the heck is going on? How is King Kong Bundy LJN 8-inch number 2? You know what? I just thought about something. I didn't pull the LJN Bundy figure. I have the LJN Bundy, and I didn't pull him. He would have actually would have been on this list. Okay, so you know what? For sake of argument, assume the Bundy would have been in this video. Bundy would have been number 7. I wouldn't have put it above any of the other figures. I do have the Bundy. I didn't pull it. I forgot about him. So Bundy number 7. I do have the Bundy. No, he is not number 1. So, I probably pretty much said in the last video, if it comes down to it, LJN or Hasbro is probably going to be the number 1 choice, pretty much with every single selection. So, if LJN isn't number 1, and there is no Hasbro of King Kong Bundy, what else is there? Of course, when I talk about LJN, I normally refer to the 8-inch guys. When you got LJN, I mean, they're so massive. You got thumb wrestlers, you got bendies, you got all these different things. You're not just talking about the 8-inch guys, but my mindset when I think LJN usually refers to the 8-inch rubber figures. But I absolutely love the 8-inch figure. I've always felt like the King Kong Bundy LJN 8-inch figure would have been on my top 10 of all-time favorite LJN figures. When I finally did my countdown, he didn't crack the top 10. And I think some of the figures that did top that list, the top 10, like Jim Neidhart and Warlord, etc., I think they only beat out Bundy for the top 10 slot is because they had better fighting poses. You know, this fighting pose right here, it's basically, it sucks. It's not a great pose, but this figure gets so much use, and in fact is one of the all-time most played with figures. You can still do a DDT and everything, and you can still pretend to throw punches and body slams and stuff. It is an extremely enjoyable figure, one of the best for play, and you know what? It's an absolute weapon. You could literally kill somebody with this. It's freaking, like, unbelievable. This is the heaviest figure in the line. I mean, King Kong Bundy was 450 pounds, so it makes sense to make this figure heavier than, you know, all your other figures. And I absolutely love this one. And saddened I couldn't put him at number 2 or at number 1. I thought about it, but there are a couple of reasons why I chose the remaining figure for number 1. So LJN 8-inch figure number 2. The last figure, the one that I selected as the all-time, or my all-time favorite number 1 selection for King Kong Bundy figures. 1985 LJN King Kong Bundy Thumb Wrestler. And it is so odd to hear me talk about a thumb wrestler as being a great figure. So you guys already know. Growing up, I had like 15 Hasbros, like maybe 6 Galoobs. Anytime we got like thumb wrestlers in, we never had like any original thumb wrestlers. No LJN thumb wrestlers. We had like, you know, your cheap knockoff dollar store type thumb wrestlers. And we didn't have a bunch. We had like probably like, I don't know, 3 or 4, if that. Maybe like a Macho Man type and maybe a Hulk Hogan version or something. And, you know, we had like the little cheap knockoff, like Remco style, you know, wrestlers and stuff. So that's why, like, growing up, I always thought those little cheap knockoff Remco type, you know, figures were actually Remcos, and why, you know, thumb wrestlers, you know, same thing. I didn't think about LJ or anything like that, so, and I always hated thumb wrestlers growing up. Absolutely despised them. I thought they were some of the worst wrestling figures on the planet. With a big old hole in the back, I'm like, why would you do that to, you know, that's, nobody is sitting there with their thumbs in there trying to wrestle with these guys. If you actually did wrestle with the thumb wrestlers, you would hold them just like you would any other wrestling figure, and you would wrestle just like this. So, what finally did it for me? Well, just like Remco's and a lot of, you know, your thumb wrestlers, a lot of other figures that I didn't enjoy as a kid, grown to appreciate and really truly love as an adult and as a collector. I feel like right now, I'm probably the only person in the world that has an original King Kong Bundy thumb wrestler. Whether that's true, I don't know. I've spent a really long time searching for this figure. My friend Buddy Daly, we know him as Stanger GQ on eBay, and a good chunk of my collections have actually come from purchasing from his account, and I really owe him a lot. I mean, like I said, a large chunk of my collections. I mean, he had just so much massive quantity of phenomenal collectibles out there. And, you know, I told him about this before. And I know he'd been selling like some resin thumb wrestlers out there. And I asked him if he had a King Kong Bundy. And I was actually willing to pay for a resin because I didn't think I'd ever find a rubber figure. He found one in his storage, and he reached out to me, let me know he had one. Almost mint. I mean, there's like the most minuscule paint loss on this. For $325, absolutely. You know what? You might think for a thumb wrestler, which I normally classify as like a dollar figure. Trust me, for this figure in this day and age, in this condition, a steal. I absolutely love it. It completes the thumb wrestler collection. Perfect edition. And so yes, the value of this particular figure does help my decision in choosing him at number one. And yes, the playability of the figure as an actual usable, playable figure, an enjoyable figure, that does help. Also, what I love about this, holding this thumb wrestler and picking up any of the other thumb wrestlers and holding those, just like this one, you actually feel the weight of the Bundy, of the thumb wrestler King Kong Bundy, and that is so amazing. So, for the sake of this video and of the King Kong Bundy, yes, I am classifying the thumb wrestler, and it's probably going to be the only time you will ever see a thumb wrestler hit the number one mark. I mean, Jake Roberts could be a possibility, but I don't know. Could Jake Roberts, the thumb wrestler, be a number one selection as well? I like the Hasbro, and I like the LJN 8-inch, but that's something to think about. I think the value of the thumb wrestler could actually make him a number one selection as well. So, this may not be the first time or last time you see a thumb wrestler at number one. I guess we'll see if we ever make a Jake Roberts video, which I'm sure we will at some point. Well, that is my countdown of King Kong Bundy, based on the figures I do own. And yeah, so this one kind of fell in my lap, this video, based on that new acquisition. Again, guys, I'm kind of looking into your guys' recommendations, help me choose, which one. Otherwise, I'm basically just going to kind of, close my eyes and point and see which one which character I point at, and just kind of go from there. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoy the video, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks, everyone.